So guys, welcome to Surat MuleSoft Meetup 41. And topic for today's meetup is Universal API Management, Flex Gateway, and the API Governance. So these are the few component has been released by MuleSoft as a part of Anypoint platform recently. And we will like whatever knowledge I have, I will try to share in this particular session. Okay. Let me move to next slide. Let me start with safe harbor statement. So both the speaker and the host are organizing this meetup in the individual capacity only, and we are not representing organization here. This presentation is strictly for learning purpose. Organization and presenter do not hold any responsibility that same solution work for your use case or your for your business requirement. Is not meant for any promotional activities. Let me go with some housekeeping activities. So recording of the meetup will be uploaded to event page or on the YouTube, like within 24 hours. You can ask question at any time, like make the session interactive. Like even if you have anything, you can definitely share. Like it's not about only asking the question. If you have any other point to add, you can definitely like pitch in and you can add the points basically, whatever points or whatever feedback you want to give. And finally, like you maybe are not getting more feedbacks, so I will encourage everyone to provide a feedback for the session. This will help us to do the improvement in the future session. Okay, so organizer myself, Jitendra Bapna, and like Nitesh, would you like to introduce yourself?
Please continue, Jackie.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all about me. So basically me, like so I will not going to give an introduction, you can see on the screen. So I will not waste time for giving the introduction. Let me go to next slide. Agenda. So agenda, like we have already done with introduction. The next thing we will discuss about what is universal API management, what is a flex gateway, what is API governance. We will see a lot of demonstration, and finally we will have a trivia quiz. And today we will going to run a trivia quiz via Kahoot. So let me start with a universal API management. Before that, like anybody want to add any point? What is the universal API management? Before I start, anybody? I hope like you enable the mic for everyone, right?
Yes,
Any
Jackie.
anybody want to talk about universal API management? What does universal API management mean?
Managing all the APIs under one hood.
Right? Correct? Uh, any other guys? Feel free. Like don't say. You can be right. You can be wrong. Doesn't matter. So try to like make the session interactive. Okay. So no issue. So recently, if you see, MuleSoft has come up with some concept called universal API management. So universal API management allow you to govern, engage, discover, and secure your API within a single control plane or within the single platform. So basically, it doesn't matter where your API located, whether it's on premise, a private cloud, or it's public cloud, or whether it's on any point platform. So or right, or whether it is written in any technology, like it can be node.js, it can be MuleSoft, it can be Java, it can be Spring Boot. Basically you can manage all your API within the single platform, that is the Anypoint platform basically. So it doesn't matter where your API located and like how the API is written, it doesn't matter. So with universal API management, you can manage, you can secure, you can govern, you can engage your API from the single platform. So you can see all the APIs within the single platform. You can discover all the APIs from the single platform basically, right? So that is where a universal API management come into picture. It doesn't matter where your API located. It doesn't matter how your API is written. It doesn't matter what architecture pattern your API is following. It doesn't matter, right? So basically from any point platform, you can manage all your API, you can see all your API, you can govern all your API, you can discover all your API, right? So what are the benefits we are getting from universal API management? So it will allow organization or enterprise to control, manage, secure the API under the single umbrella. So you like you umbrella, when I say single umbrella, it means under the single platform. So you can see platform. It can adapt any architecture with lightweight and the flexible API gateway to manage and secure the API. So it doesn't matter whether your API is following API-led connectivity, whether your API is following microservices architecture, whether your API is following any other pattern. it doesn't matter, but you can easily govern your API using the API gateway. And for that, MuleSoft has introduced a gateway called a Flex gateway. So that is why it is known as a Flex gateway, because it is very flexible. It can, like, manage API located anywhere. It can manage the API written in any technology. It can manage the API. Can you please go on mute? It can manage the API, like, design in any architecture pattern. You can govern all the API under the single platform. So this is where a universal API management concept come into the picture. Now you got the meaning of universal API management, right? So what does universal API management do? So it will secure, it will allow, it will manage, it will govern, and it will discover your API under a single umbrella within the single platform. It doesn't matter where it is located. It's on premises, customer hosted, it can be runtime fabric manager, it can be only on AWS cloud, it can be on Azure cloud, it can be on Docker container, doesn't matter. And it also doesn't matter how is your API written, in which technology your API written. It can be uh, MuleSoft, it can be non-MuleSoft technology like .NET, Java, maybe Node.js, maybe Python. It doesn't matter, right? So that is where a universal API management come into picture.
Go to the next slide.
So
As I
as I
mentioned, is ultra
mentioned,
fast.
design and manage the API running anywhere and written in any technology, right? So that is why it is known as a Flex gateway. So one of the main advantage of Flex, any architecture pattern. It doesn't matter what your API, what architecture pattern your API is following. That is where, that's why they name this as a Flex gateway, right? So you can secure and manage your APIs located anywhere. Extend the Anypoint platform capabilities to MuleSoft as well as a non-MuleSoft API. So basically, you can enable your API manager capability on new MuleSoft as well as non-MuleSoft API. Achieve consistent security and the governance across every API operating in any environment. Flex gateway can be used in local and connected mode. So what is difference between local and connected mode? In connected mode, like whenever you are setting up a Flex gateway in connected mode, your instance will also add it in the Anypoint platform. Like, like when we do Anypoint clustering, right? So your server must be registered in Anypoint platform. Same way, like you, in connected mode, your Flex gateway will be also registered in your Anypoint platform. You can see the instance of your Flex gateway in Anypoint platform, and you can apply any policies, anything directly from your API manager, or like, or you can add any API instance into that into the Flex gateway using Anypoint platform. With local mode, you have to manage a configuration file in the YAML format. So like in local mode, your API, your Flex gateway will be not connected to Anypoint platform. He will not able to see like any point, like Flex gateway instance on any point platform. So generally you are managing your Flex gateway using configuration file in the YAML format. So I will going to showcase that particular demonstration, and it support a three authentication mode. So whenever you want to register your Flex gateway, or whenever you want to set up a Flex gateway, you have to, you may have, you need, you require some kind of authentication to get registered on any point platform. So for that, there's a three mechanism. You can use any point username and password. I will not recommend it to use this particular approach. Either you can go with auth token, or you can go with the connected app. Generally, I will in this particular session, we will going to use a connected app basically, and even you can use the auth token. Any question till now? Let me check.
No, Jackie.
I hope
Like
it's
it's simple.
simple, right? You got the concept. What is the logic behind the Flex gateway and what is the universal API management, right? If you have any question, I will just give a pause for 1 minute. You can just ask me if you would like.
So
See,
Jackie, sorry, the connected mode, the authentication mode is for connected mode only.
no, you will require the authentication mode for both mode. Okay, for local mode as well as the connected mode. See what happened, like, let consider, I will give why we require authentication mode. Can anybody answer me in the local mode also? Because if you are not, see, like the Flex gateway, the Docker image is available everywhere, right? You can simply pull that image, you can create the Flex gateway, you can manage in config file. How MuleSoft will track, like, whether like you are eligible to use the Flex Gateway or not, right? Or it is your part of your license or not. In like if you are not providing the authentication mode in local mode, right? Anybody can go and install the Flex Gateway on their machine and they can start using it, right? So at least you should have a access and you should have a a Flex Gateway available on your Anypoint platform. Otherwise, it will not allow you to install. That's why we require the authentication mode, right?
And what permission we should have that authentication mode?
Gajanan, just we started. I will show you, going forward.
All right. Yeah. Thank
Okay. Thanks. Like let me. Okay. Somebody asked me one question. Where it is? Yeah. Does it show APIs of VPC in Universal? I haven't got your question, Amit. Does it show APIs of VPC? Like
VPC
it
doesn't
doesn't
come
come
into
into
picture.
picture actually, So I don't. It's
It's
the Flex Gateway generally. You will see like why I'm saying this. So going forward in the session, you will come to know. So so basically I try to like sketch a few architecture how can you use the Flex Gateway. So this particular image or this particular architecture is like setting up a Flex Gateway on the Docker engine. So currently you can set up a Flex Gateway on the three things. One is on Docker engine or Docker container. It or once the second approach where you can set up a Flex Gateway on Linux service, and the third you can set up a Flex Gateway as a Kubernetes ingress controller. So these are the three things you can do with a Flex Gateway. You can set up on the Docker container. Secondly, you can set up as a Linux service, or you can set up as a Kubernetes ingress controller. So these are the three things, or these are the three setup mode supported by a Flex Gateway, right? So let me explain this particular architecture. So basically, I have a Mule API that is running in Docker container on container on port 8084. Just forget about port. Let understand. I have a Mule API running in the one container. I have a Spring Boot API which is running in the other container. I have a Node.js API which is running in the other container. I have a .NET API which is running in the other container. So what I can do, I can set up a single Flex Gateway, and I can connect all this API, or I can publish all this API written in different technology to the Flex Gateway basically. In this particular thing, if you see the Flex Gateway is registered in Anypoint platform, you can run the multiple replicas of one Flex Gateway for high availability purpose. If one replica goes down, you have other replica to take all your like requests. So you can define like also it can like balance the load across the multiple replicas. So always make sure you should have at least more than one replica, and I will suggest you also always have a odd number of replicas. So basically, as per rule, at least more than 50% of replicas must be up. If you are setting up the two, in this that case one goes down, but still you have 50% of replica is up, right? In case of three, like if one replica is down, right, but still you have a two replica, which means around 66 point something percentage, right? So it is recommended to always have a like more than like two replicas, or like or at least two replicas will be also fine. But as per rule, you have to always ensure that you have a 50% of nodes are or replicas is up and running. You can then I can add the API instance also. So that is how this is the architecture. Then we have a API manager, so I can apply any policies, I can see metrics, I can set up API alerts and API security from the Anypoint platform. Here what we are doing, we are using the single Flex Gateway for all the APIs within your organization, right? So single Flex Gateway, multiple APIs, right? Let me go to the next slide. So here you can use a Flex Gateway as a micro gateway, also multiple Flex Gateway architecture. So you have a Mule API, you have a Java or Spring Boot API, Node.js API, and you have a .NET API basically, right? So you can set up one Flex Gateway for each API or for each API or technology stack. So for example, for Mule APIs, I can have a one flex gateway. For Spring Boot API, I can have a one flex gateway. For Node.js, I can have a one flex gateway. For .NET, I have a one flex gateway. All these APIs are registered in my Anypoint platform. So they like, so it is in the connected mode, and then you can set up like, whatever policies, API security metrics, alerts, whatever you want to set up, you can do that, right? So you have a multiple flex gateway here. And even like we have some concept called micro gateway also. For each API also you can have a separate flex gateway, but like that will, what will happen, like that will increase the number of flex gateway, and your maintenance and operation cost will increase, even the line. I don't know about the license model, but I think that it might be on number of API published to flex gateway. I don't know about the license, but you can discuss, like, so you can like use this particular technology like on basis, like, even you are using the multiple flex gateway, right? You can see all your like APIs under the Anypoint platform, right? You can see everything under the Anypoint platform. Doesn't matter, like even you are using the 5 or 6 flex gateway, but still your all API can be discovered from the single platform. You can manage, you can secure, or you can engage your API from the single Anypoint platform. Any question on to this two architecture? No question.
Hi. So I wanted to know, like, what would be the use case where we are using separate flex gateways for separate, APIs?
See, generally the simple, like, so there might be see, there might be organization like who might be saying like, I want to use the multiple flex gateway basically, right? So for like, let consider I will give one good use case. We have a line of businesses, like, within the organization. We have one line of business, we have a second line of business, we have a third line of business. So each line of business have their own APIs basically, right? So one line of business may having like API in .NET, maybe API in MuleSoft. One of the line of business maybe have a API in like different technology. So each line of business like want to ensure that like their gateway is also isolated from each other, right? So like, so in that case you can set up a separate flex gateway for each and every line of business basically. That can be one use cases. In microservices architecture, let's consider this is my microservice architecture. In microservice architecture, what happens, like each API has to be managed separately, right? So here I have a Mule API, and I have a Spring Boot API basically, and I want to manage those APIs like separately. Like I want to manage the API depending on the technology, right? So you can have a separate flex gateway for that, right? So let's consider other example. I will tell you, like you have some, like you have a Mule API, you have 100 of Mule API, you have 100 of Spring Boot API, you have 100 of Node.js API, you have 100 of .NET API, right? So in that case, what I will suggest, instead of using one flex gateway, right? Instead of putting the load on single flex gateway, right? You can have a multiple flex gateway. You can divide your traffic to the multiple flex gateway, right?
Got it. Thank you.
And in here, right, in this diagram actually, so both in control plane as well as in the Docker engine, both the place actually the Flex gateway is there. Is like a Flex gateway agent is running in the Docker side, or like both the places Flex
No,
gateway
no.
component is running?
See, only Flex Gateway will registered in the Anypoint platform. Actually, your Flex Gateway will be, yeah, will be running on the Docker engine. So it will not going to run a Flex Gateway on the Anypoint platform. It will be only the instance will get registered on Anypoint platform. Got it? Actual agent will be running on the Docker engine.
Yeah, yeah, thank.
Okay, so let me start with few demonstration. We will set up a Flex Gateway in the connected mode. Then we will going to publish the APIs to the Flex Gateway in the connected mode. Then we will apply the policies to the Flex Gateway. We will set up the Flex Gateway in local mode, publish the APIs to the Flex Gateway in the local mode, and apply the policies to the Flex Gateway. Okay, so like this is the one architecture. So I will be having the Flex Gateway running on port 8081. So any client can send the request to the Flex Gateway on port 8081, right? And basically then Flex Gateway will authenticate that request and send request to the container. So container is running on 9000, so it will send the request to the container on 9000, and container will redirect this particular request to the Mule employee API, which is running on 9001 basically. So this is the setup we are going to do right now. Okay, the first thing, you can go to Anypoint platform basically, right? In Anypoint platform, if you go to API manager, You can say add new API. Now you can see we have a three type of API gateway. One is Flex gateway, one is Mule gateway, and one is Service gateway, right? So right now I want to set up some gateway, right? So right now I cannot see any gateway here, right? These all are in disconnected mode. So what I can do, I can go to my runtime manager. Okay, in runtime manager I can go to Flex gateway and I can say add gateway. So where you want, what operating system you want, Linux, Docker, or Kubernetes. In my case I will go with Docker. The first thing, so the before that you have to ensure that, like, you might be having Docker engine running on your Windows machine or Linux machine, where, like, wherever you want, like, so in my case I am using a Docker desktop, and I can see, I have already have a Mule Flex gateway image I already downloaded. In case if you want to do it, you can copy this command, as simple as that. You can go to command prompt and paste it. So it will try to download a latest image of your Flex. Okay, it's downloaded, because it will take time for you, because I have already downloaded. So it is not, like, not re-download it basically. Now the second thing, let me check what is the second command. You can go to, this is my second command basically. In this case, like, we will use the token. You can always use, like, it is already providing the token, so we can use that particular token only. So I will copy this command and let me paste this command. Let me maximize it. The first, I will remove this slash, because this is a Windows command prompt. So I will put the command within the single line, and here I'm passing a connected true. This is my organization ID. It will give automatically, and it will generate a token for you, so you don't have to generate it again. Like, I can just make it single line. One thing, you have to provide a gateway. So what I will say, Surat demo gateway. So I will just give a Surat demo gateway. In Windows, if you know, the PWD doesn't work, right? PWD works in the Linux basically. So in that case, or, like, like PWD doesn't work, or the command prompt also. So I've created one folder, C users written and Flex gateway. I will copy this path. Like, if you are installing using a shell command prompt, or, like, so you don't have to change this. In my case, I have to do change, right? I'll just say enter. I will copy this command and I'll just run this command. Let's see what happens. So it start registration. Please be patient. It takes 10 to 15 seconds. It is done. If you see, it should create a three files here. So this is a file which will be used to communicate with your Anypoint platform. It contains some configuration information, some tokens, and it also contains some certificates. So these are the three files get created. Now, if you see, if you go to Anypoint platform, your like Flex gateway must be there. So you can see Surat demo gateway, but it is in disconnected state. Now what I have to do, if you see, there is a no replicas yet. Also, you can go to Docker desktop and you can see this particular container, basically it's there, right? You can see it here. So now next step, we need to add replicas, right? So again, you can go to your like this particular command. I will go to API manager, add API, add new API, Flex gateway. Not here, sorry. I want to go to runtime manager. Okay, Flex gateway. You can say add gateway, Docker. Now, so we have registered it, right? The first we have installed the image. Second step, we have registered the Flex gateway, right? The third step, we need to start the Flex gateway. So we can copy this command, right? So again, I have to provide the absolute path. So this is my path. Okay, so I will provide this path. Port 8081 is fine. Now, how you can find this UUID of your file? Go to that folder where three file has been created. Now you can go to that option. You can copy this, UUID and go to your. You can change it here. this particular here I'm saying like what image we need to use. I will just remove this slash. Copy and let me run it. Okay, it should start. Yeah, it is starting worker. Now if you go and see, your flex gateway must be in connected state. Mm, okay, so let me go back to, let me open the new Anypoint platform. Let me check. Yeah, it has created a new image. I can delete this also, like we don't require. We create a new image or new container basically. Let me go to my runtime manager. Okay, it is in connected mode. You can see one replica, right? So I will keep one replica. Even we can create a second replica also. We have a command. So this is my command. Let me create it. Okay. So basically, like even you can use this particular thing also, but that's fine. So I can remove -v and remove all the slashes. Let me copy these tokens and everything again. Not token, that UUID. So this is my where it is UUID. This is my UUID. UUID somewhere. Yeah. Then I have to give a absolute path where my three file is located. I can give those path. Then this time I have to change the port number, which is 8082, 8082. And you can give some replica name, which is replica 2. Then I can bring everything on the single line. If you are using like cell or anything, like you don't have to do all this thing. Run this command. Let me open it. Yeah, you should see two replicas now. Yeah, you can see replica 2. Okay, so you can give name of replica also, right? So now we can see our flex gateway is up and running. So you can see our flex gateway is up and running, right? So you can see it is in the connected mode. If you go to Docker container also, you can see that this two particular replicas is up and running on port 8081 and 8082. Let me delete this. Now I have already deployed a few MuleSoft application, or like some applications running on Mule 1 and this Mule 2. So I have a employees API running on Mule 1 and employees API running on the Mule 2 container, right? And those container are already registered in my Anypoint platform. So you can see that Mule 1 and Mule 2 is already registered in Anypoint platform. Let me show the image again. So now what I have to do, so I have an employee API running on 9001 port, but the container port is 9000. So request will come to this container on 9000 and it will redirect the request to the employee API on 9001. So let me browse that request. So I will use http localhost 9001. Just a minute, something going wrong. Don't know what happened. It should be localhost. And see a successful response from the employee. Right now what we have to do, now we want to enable API gateway on the top of this. So I have already created this setup. I already have this. Now I have to connect both. Right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
And you are
Yes,
getting right
Jackie.
what we are trying to do. You are getting that right. So what we have done, we have already one container running where our employee API is running. I have shown that, right? So, and I have a flex gateway which is we have created just now, which is running on replica 1 and replica 2, like which having two replica 1 and the replica 2. Now I have to connect a flex gateway and this particular mule API basically. Now how we can do that? It's very simple. So you can go to, you can go to your flex gateway, right? This is my flex gateway. Under flex gateway, you can go to APIs. You can simply say add APIs, right? You have to select the API, this connected, and I will say flex gateway next and create new API. I don't, either you can either you can consume from uh, Anypoint exchange, or you can create a new API. I will create a new API. I will say employee flex API, and here I can use HTTP API. So in this case, I don't have to give a RAML. Basically, if I select API from Exchange, I have to provide the RAML. In this case, I don't have to do that. I will say next, right? So here you have to provide your implementation URI. So what will be the my implementation URI? So generally you have to when container talk with each other, right? You have to give the IP address. So
So I will
search
search.
the IP address of my container of my Docker container. So it is 192.168.0.102, right? So what I will do, I have to give a implementation URI. My implementation URI is, right, it's port 9000. That's it. So this is my implementation URI. I don't have to do anything. I can browse this also and let's check whether like we get a response. We got the response also. So that is good. So I provide that. Now I go to advanced option. Yeah, I want to deploy that application on port 8081, right? So now I am publishing this particular employee API on this HTTP port 8081. Next, then I will say save and deploy. It is publishing. It got published. Okay. So now instead of 9000, let me check if I use 8081 whether it is accessible. Yeah, you can see it is accessible over 8081 also. You can see that, right? Now I am connecting my application via Flex Gateway, right? So we have done this particular setup. What we have done? So I
Application.
have set up Flex 81. Then like I have a Mule application running on port 9000. Now
Now
I'm
I'm actually
sending
sending
the
the
request to 8081, which is coming to the gateway. From gateway, it is transferring the request to the Mule runtime. Now, next thing, we will apply the policy. Let's see, right? So I can go to policies and you can see GUI has been changed. Let's wait. I can apply a simple basic authentication policy. I just want to showcase you concept and I can put admin. If I am applying the policy on my gateway, close. Let me check whether it takes 10 seconds. I think it takes some seconds for policy to get refreshed. Close this browser. I will close this. Still, it's taking
that reflect.
let me open a different browser. Yeah, it is asking me for username. You got a successful response. Yeah, I want to close the browser first because it got cached. So like you can see now, if I put hit this, it will not ask because it is cached, right? So that is how you can apply the policies. Any question here? And also apart from that, if you go there, you can see metrics and everything here, like so total, you can see a lot of matrices and everything, total policy violation, everything, right? You can see it here. So this is our first demo where we have seen like how to set up a Flex gateway in connected mode, how to add a multiple replicas to your Flex gateway. Third, to publish the API to the Flex gateway, then how to apply the policy to the Flex gateway in the connected mode. So we have seen all these demonstration. If you have any question, just let me know before I move to the like local mode demo where we will do some complex demonstration.
Jackie, quick question. As we have mentioned the authentication mode, right? So, correct me if I'm wrong. The authentication mode is where you have mentioned in while registering it,
Yeah,
the
I
Flex
already
gateway.
told, right? I told you, right, about this token. This token, when you try to register it, it generated automatically. You can see. Or if you want to use the client ID, you can just simply
Simply,
go to here, remove this token.
paste
Instead of that, you can pass client ID in the client secret. So try for
Okay.
application mechanism.
So we need admin access,
The
right, for that?
organization ID. That
Yes.
you need
Okay.
access to generate. Don't have a API manager access. How can like
Mm. Yeah, right. Okay.
is the answer your
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
Jackie, there is a question from Sagnik. Yeah.
you can definitely Sagnik, if there is any domain based URL is set up on the top of your application, you can give it. In my case, it's not there, right? In my case, I'm communicating with IP addresses.
Got it, Jackie.
Yeah, like there might be possibly
the top of your application.
right. So you can directly give a top load balancer URL to the gateway.
Directly publish
Your
load
load
balancer.
balancer.
Got it.
Okay. Okay. Now next demo we will do. Let me
I think
what we have done just now. So let me remove this. So here you can see all logs and everything. So what is happening, so whenever you do any changes, whenever applying the policies, everything, it get log, you can see it here. So now next thing, what I will do, I did mode,
we will see in the local mode.
I can keep it, but like if I keep it, it will become a bit complex, So that's why I'm removing. So guys, like I need to explain few more things. Go to a
Flex
Flex
gateway.
gateway. Where it is. Let me do one thing. So it is gone. You don't have an option to delete all this thing. You don't have an option to delete the replicas also. It will automatically get
Deleted
deleted
if
if
it's
it's
not
not in
the
start state. Okay, so I know like in future they will definitely come up with some delete options and everything. Right now it's not there, right? So maybe in future they will directly give a delete options and everything. So let me go back to my API manager. Let's I think I will delete this. Okay, that's fine. I clear everything. Now the next step, I have to go with the local mode. Let me open the MuleSoft documentation, Flex Gateway in local mode. So guys, like I'm just showcasing your document. Okay, so here in document everything is given, like how can you set up a Flex Gateway in local mode, how can you set up a Flex Gateway in connected mode, how can you manage the Flex gateways, everything is available, right? So here you can see registered and run in the local mode with the username and password with connected app. So we will going to use this options, right? In connected app we will going to use register and run with the connected app in the Docker container. So like Gajanan, you asked me question, right? So either you can pass the token or you can pass this client ID and the client secret. So for connected app, what we require first, right? We require to register a connected app in Anypoint platform. So what I will do, I will go to access management and I will start like creating a connected app. I can go to connected app. If I have any connected app, I will just delete it. Yeah, let me delete this. So first thing, go to create connected app. I will say Surat connected app. Here you can use like client credentials, right? Now this is very important. So what permission you have to give? So go to add scope, then you have to give this permission. Read server, definitely manage server. Apart from that, you have to give a view organization. Then you have to give a view environment. So these are the four permission you need to give when you want to set up a Flex gateway in the local mode. Next, then you a business group. I will use self. I will use sandbox as an environment. It's a review, add scope, save it. So this is how you have to create a connected app. This is client ID and the client secret. The first thing, again, we have to register a Flex gateway command. So let me go to Notepad++, right? Yeah. The first thing we have to register. It's the same command which we have used in the connected mode. You can use the same command. Only the difference will be we are not going to pass one parameter that is connected true. If you see in this particular thing, you are passing a connected true, right? In local mode, we will not pass this parameter. So what I will do, let me go to documentation. So here is the command, copy that command. And also let me delete all these files, otherwise it will create issue. I will go to Notepad, paste this command. Now the first thing, I have to change this PWT path. As I mentioned, I'm using the Windows command prompt. So PWT will not work. So I'm giving a full absolute path. That's it. Now I will remove all these slashes. The next thing, you have to provide a client ID. So we have just now generate a client ID. So copy this client ID. Let me paste in the place of client ID. The next thing, I want a client secret. Copy this client secret. Next thing, I want environment. How can you find the environment? It's very easy. So let me go to API administration. You can go to information here and you can find environment ID. Copy this. And you can find a business group ID. Copy this. And give a gateway name. Surat Mule Local. Okay, this is my gateway name. I will bring everything into a single line. Go to command prompt and let's see what happens. You can see 3 file has been generated here. But let me check if Anypoint platform, if this particular gateway is registered in my Anypoint platform or not. Now I will go to runtime manager. You can go to Flex gateway. This time your gateway is not registered, right? So you can check whatever name we have given, which is like, it's rural, like, mule local. It is not registered here, right? But you can see a few files here. Let me go to container. So you can see it is registered here also, like, now the next thing what we will do, anybody? Anyone can tell? We will going to add the replicas, right? I require this UID. Copy this command and you can see this command here also. So once we registered it and like after registered it, you have to run it. So register. So you have a command for run also. You can see it here. So this is the command for I have already have a command here, so I will just put up, or better, let me show it again. So it will be easy for you. Copy this command and go to Notepad. Okay, so here like you can give a port number. I will give 8081, and like absolute path. Again, you can copy this path. Give the same path here. Then you have to provide the UUID. So copy this. I can provide UUID here. Give the replica name. So I will say Surat replica 1. Bring everything into a single line. Let me check if everything is perfect. Yes. Copy this command. Open the CMD. Port number is 8081. Enter. Yeah, it is started. Let me check if container has been created. You can see container has been created. A second replica on port 8082. Replica 2. Copy. Open CMD. Paste it. Should register the second replica also. So you can see second replica is also registered. Now what we have set up Flex Gateway in the local mode, right? Now in connected mode, we are going to Anypoint platform and we are adding the API. How can we do it in local mode basically? Any answer? Anyone?
Yeah, as you said, we have to update locally the files, the config file, right? And we have to
Okay. Yeah.
add your
So basically,
application.
yeah, right. So basically, if you go here and if you go to this documentation, let me show that. Yeah, you can publish simple API YAML file. If you have to create a YAML file which contain all these details basically, right? So you can copy it from a MuleSoft documentation. So in my case, I want to access the employee endpoint, which is running on port 9001 and in container port 9000. So now we are going to do a second setup. This particular, let me do like first we do this setup again, like no on local mode basically. Let me do this setup again. So I think we setup and we already have this particular application running. Now we have to connect this. What we'll do. So copy that data. You can copy it from here. In my case, I already have that. So let me copy this. Some other. Yeah. What you have to provide API versions. This is like you don't have to change it. Yeah, you can change this name every time. So it's employee API. What is the address of your gateway? So my gateway is running on port 8081. If you have any host or anything, you can give that also, but it's only local, right? So everything is local. So I get 0.08081. Then where is your employee service? So what is the IP address for my employee? Let me check 192. I think it's 102 because it keep on changing. Let me copy this and I will provide my implementation URI. And my employee have only one path, but if you have a more path after employee, so you can always use slash dot star. So because if anything after employees, it will also take, right? In my case, I have only one endpoint. So I will copy this, right? I will go to note. Before that, let me show you something. If I'm trying to run with localhost 8081, what response we get? It is not running because there is a no connection. So I will copy this file, or let me save Surat. You can give any name, YAML, and just say all type, desktop, save. Simple. Okay, this is the file. I will copy and I will go to this particular Flex gateway and paste it here, this file. And you can go to your container, you will see something. So you can see this, pick the file, and it has exposed this, this endpoint, and it has published this particular API or this API gateway. Let me try if localhost works now on 8081. Yeah, now we got a successful response, right? So now we are connecting to the API via gateway. That's next thing. Now I have to enable a basic authentication. How can I do that? Because now I cannot apply the policy. So for that, let me show you documentation again. So if you go it here, it gave the some example. So you have to add something in. Basically, here we have a syntax like policy rep, name of the policy, and what are the configuration like that. You have for rate limiting and everything, right? So we will going to go to my employees YAML and let me copy this policies and go to employees. I will say enter. I will go. See, indentation is very important here. So now I'm adding the basic authentication, like the policy rep, and I'm giving admin as my password. I will copy, save this. Very simple. Like copy this again, paste it here, replace seconds to run this file again. Let me check authentication come or not. It's there. So let me copy this path again. Yeah, it's let me run it to different browser. It's running. Should not. Yeah, it asking me for username. Now you can see the success. That is how you can apply the policies also. Documentation here, in documentation it given everything like how to apply rate limiting and all those things. So you can see on the MuleSoft documentation. Any question till now before I move to other demonstration? No, right? So we have to complete this particular picture now. Now I want a second API which is running on container, right? Let me show that. HTTP localhost 9001, and I have something called API. So let me check if it's 9002, I think. Let me check. Let me check container. Yeah, it's 9002. I put something wrong there. So my let me correct there. So it is 9002. Okay. So we will going to do this setup. So I have a API running on 9002. So what I have to do, I have to open the same config file. I can copy the data from here to here till employees, right? And I can just say, right, instead of employees, I can change this name to orders. Orders exist. It is on 9002 and the path is slash order. So that is the changes I need to do. And here I will just make more better. So now I'm saying my employees exist on this particular container. My orders exist on this particular container, and these are the path. You can add the multi. So let me copy. Let me go back to my YAML. Let me close this. Let's wait for few seconds. Let me start with localhost 8081 orders. Ask me for username and password. We got the order response. Let me check employees. You got an employees response. So now you can see we have done this completed.
Hey Jitendra, so my question is like, I mean, where we should use connected mode and where we should use local mode.
Like there might be possibility some data to go outside, right? Use the local mode.
Okay,
It
so
depend
in
on the
case of
organization. See, there
on
is a no
premise,
as such use case. Like from use case perspective, you can use any mode. It doesn't matter. Only like from the like organization perspective, if some organization doesn't want their data on the
mm-hmm.
organization policy, their data should not go out of the environment. Right? In like even metadata in the loop.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
thanks.
So what now? I have also one non-MuleSoft API. Uh, let me show. So I have a third API. This is Node.js API basically, which is running on 9003 container. Let me browse that HTTP local host 9003 health. So I got this response. This is the non-MuleSoft API. This is Node.js API basically. Let me try to browse this on 8081 whether it works or not. It will ask for username password definitely, but it should 404 not found. Yeah. So now what I have to do, can anybody tell me? So I will go and update this file again. So I can copy this. Then instead of orders, I can change this to health and give any name. Health is located on port 9003 and I have only one endpoint, which is health. Let's save this. Let's see what happens. Let me copy this. Let TP employee. I don't want to employee. I want health. Health response also on port 8081. So we have completed this particular setup also. So now see like from single configuration file, you can manage a MuleSoft as well as your non-MuleSoft API. That is possible, right? We have seen in this connected local mode, we have set up Flex Gateway in local mode. We have set up the multiple replicas in the local mode. We have published a multiple API which include MuleSoft and non-MuleSoft APIs on enable and also seen how to create a configuration file, a YAML based configuration file, right? Any question before I move to our next small topic?
So here,
I hope
do we have flexibility for applying the individual policy section? The policy section is common to all, right? So do we have a section where we can apply individual policies?
so. You can create a multiple YAML file. This moon, like you can create a multiple YAML file. That is also possible. The basic authentication group of API need like some other policy, right? So you can like create basically a separate YAML file. Those all will be considered. Got it, Mon? Is this answer your question?
Yes, yes, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So guys, like, can anybody tell me what are the benefits of the Flex Gateway?
We can integrate Mule as well as non-Mule APIs with this gateway.
Manage, you can govern, you can secure, you can discover API from the single platform, or like you can see all the API or you can discover all the API on the single platform basically. right? So generally what happens, like if you see in most organization, they are managing a multiple API gateways, because like so for MuleSoft they are using the Anypoint platform, for other API they are using any XYZ gateway, so with MuleSoft provide us a flexibility. It doesn't matter where your API is located, it doesn't matter where your API is written and how your API is written. So basically you can simply use the flex gateway to connect all the API within the single plane. Okay, yeah. So let me go to other demo which is also very important. So API governance. So what is the API governance? So generally API governance is a one of the important stage in your API lifecycle management. With your API governance, you can ensure that, like whatever API you've written, that has been written with the best practices. You have considered all the security aspects, like the API has been written or designed with a proper guidelines and the recommendation, right? So MuleSoft has recently launched this feature as a part of Anypoint platform that enables you to apply a governance rule set to your API that ensure the API consistency and provide default several rule set, such as the top 10 OAuth API security. So everybody knows what is the top 10 OAuth security, right? So there are few like mass assignment, like SQL injection, PHP injections, like so so there are top 10 OAuth security. You can go to internet, you can search what are the different top 10 OAuth security. Then it also ensure Anypoint API best practices, open API best practices, governance rule set, right? So with this governance, you can automate it, governor you can automate it, the API governance. Basically you can validate your API specs, whether it is written in open API specification or YAML, doesn't matter. It will, as soon as you publish your API to any point exchange, it will it will say, it will scan your API, it will apply all the rule set, and it will check what is the issues. It will tell what is the issue, what are the validation, what are the best practices, what are the security aspects you haven't implement as a part of your API governance design across the enterprise,
is consistent
and it is designed with the best practices and guidelines and ensure the API security and improve the quality of the API. So what will happen? So within your organization, all your API specs will look more consistent. It will be of the higher quality, basically, right? So because you don't have to do anything manually, everything will be done automated. The report will be also generated automated. It will tell which line have what issue, and like those kind of things will be provided as a part of API governance report. So these are the few rule set comes with the default Anypoint best practices, authentication security best practices, HTTPS enforcement, open API best practices, OAuth
OAuth
API
API
security top 10 2019 checklist, and there are some examples, right? So you can go to this all these links. So if you see API best practices, let me open one of the link. So it will tell the rule set about the API best practices. These are some rule set. These are some warnings. If you open one of the rule set, it will provide more information, like use camel for all the fields name, avoid the underscore, those kind of it with as a part of your any point best practices. Then if you go to let me go to next slide, top 10 OAuth security. Right here you can see like broker function, like broker user authentication, excessive data exposure. So basically what excessive data store like exposure, like in case like whenever you are exposing any field or any data to the outside, you are not like restricting, like you are not saying what is the mean length and the max length of this field. And also it is always good practice to define the pattern for those fields also, like so let's consider if you are saying the email, then define the regular expression for
allowed.
this
This
is
is the
the
minimum
minimum
length.
length, this is the maximum length. That is how you can avoid the API attacks. Basically you can avoid the excessive data attacks, like injections attacks, SQL or PHP or any data injection attacks, basically. So right, so let me go to a next slide again. And this is the how the report generated. So it like we have a different six type, and against each type it will say whether it's failed or pass, and it will say how many violations are there and how many warnings are there, and it will also give all the all the description about your problems. We will going to see. So what is the benefit of API governance? So enable developer to apply the governance rule set at a design time. So you can identify if there's any issue with your API at a design time. It will produce consistent API across the enterprise. As I mentioned, it will generate the quality API spec at a design time, or like in your organization, or like in your organization, all API will be the similar and it will be the consistent. It will improve the API quality and the security definitely. Like it will improve your API quality and security. API design with the Anypoint best practices and open API best practices. It reduce the top 10 OWASP security risk. It ensure the design time conformance basically, right? Right. So let me quickly move to the demo. Any question on API governance? So recently I have also implement this kind of thing, with other product, but I have done like no question. So let me go to quickly to the demo. So like let me go to my Anypoint platform. So I have an API. I have this open banking API. Let me publish this API. I will publish this to Exchange. I will say stable. I will say publish to Exchange. Okay. Now let me go to Exchange. Here you can see your API is still not validated because I haven't created any profile like to validate your API. So like so during API get published to any point exchange, it search for the profile. If profile exists, it will validate the profile like API against your profile and it will generate the report, and whether it will say whether your API is conformant or it's non-conformant basically. So for that, I will go to my API governance. This is a newly introduced a tab. You can go to API governance. You can say new profile. I will say Surat API governance. You can provide what is the purpose. I will just ignore it. And what kind of rule set you need to enable as a part of this particular profile. I will say everything. And you can see the detail in the exchange. What kind of rules are there. You can go to next. Then you can define like what kind of API you need to scan. You can provide the tags or whatever tags. So if let's consider open banking, if I'm giving the tag xyz, if I say this particular API have a tag xyz, so whenever this API have a tag xyz, then only it will going to scan. If that particular API doesn't have a tag xyz, it will not going to scan. But I will say doesn't matter what kind, I need to scan all the APIs, so I will keep everything default. I will just say next. I will keep this enabled. I will say next, and like yeah, you can just say create. So now let's wait for few seconds. So here are a few status. Right now, no API has been validated. So if there's any issue, it will say non-conformant. Otherwise, it will say conformant basically, right? So you can see a Surat API governance profile here. Now let me go to my design again. I will just put some spaces and I will say publish. I will say publish. Done. Let me go to Exchange. Will take like so let me open banking API. Here it gave me for new version so it will give me latest for 10 non-conformant basically. And why it's non-conformant, it will say OAuth API security failed, open API best practice failed, require example fail, any point best practices failed. Only two thing has been passed: authentication security best practices and HTTP enforcement. You can go to API governance and you can see the more report there. Here it will say one of your API is non-conformant. It haven't passed a rule set, right? For that, you can go to APIs and you can click it here. can expand this, and it will tell all the violations. So like it will say always include the example in request response, naming conventions for resource, use lowercase for resources with more than 2 words, use the lowercase. It will describe everything, even it will tell what kind of warnings are there and what are the 7 violations we have done here. So it will say everything, like uh, so you can see complete report here, and it will say like or like always include the example in your request and response body, those kind of things. It will provide all the details, and like as soon as you start fixing those things and you can start publishing your actions, you can see this particular violations and everything will, number will decrease, and make sure like your API is conformant before you start implementation. See, it depend, like even you can do with non-conformant, nobody will going to stop you, but it is always good practice, make sure your API is in the conformant state before you start implementation. Okay. Yeah, so what's the next? Any question? Okay, so guys, nominate yourself for the next speaker and suggest the topic as well. So basically, like you can just join the Surat meetup group. The upcoming meetups basically on 11 June, which is implementing and understanding the Saga orchestration and choreography pattern. Then on 24th, we will discuss about service mesh API gateway. Then on 30th June, we will talk about understanding EKS RTF architecture and component. On 9 July, we will talk about driving digital transformation in banking industry with the MuleSoft. Yeah, it's a quiz time. So Nitish, is up to you. You can take the quiz, account quiz if there is a no question. I
Jackie,
will.
it's not a question, it's just a finding for the API governance. So when you will go to the API manager and you will apply the MuleSoft gateway on the APIs, earlier what we have is we are able to apply placeholders for our domain name. But right now they are allowing us to give a specific API implementation URL, so we are not able to put the placeholder there. So that is the change they have come up with the API governance. So because of that, if we, let's suppose in on-prem we have a multiple domains, D1, D2 or D4 like that, so it is difficult to give upfront where we have to deploy it, and we have to change it, then we have to again go back and update it. So that is the one change they have put, and ideally it should not be there. That is just a finding. So it will give you an error if you will put your placeholder for domain name.
Okay.
It will not take any parameter.
Okay. Okay. I'm not aware. Let me check. I will check.
Yeah. Otherwise, there is an option, like they are saying it is optional. If you will not put, you will not able to see your implementation URL. If you want to see your implementation URL, then you have to deliberately put your implementation URL. You can't put any placeholder in that.
Okay.